Hey, this is Five of Clubs, and welcome back to another episode of Simpleton Solos, a series in which a simpleton plays one of his favorite board games. In honor of the Board Game Geek Community Friday on Friday challenge, I'll be playing the final part of my Friday game today on
Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
That is, playing Friday the board game on Friday the weekday, yes.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
On this foreboding Friday, we'll be facing off against the red difficulty tier of the island. If you missed parts 1 and 2 leading up to this moment, feel free to click on the links in the description below to see how we got here. Otherwise, as a brief recap, we just finished our run through the hazardous hazards of the yellow tier. There were hits and there were misses, but we survived and feel confident in our chances here. The red tier hosts the highest challenge requisite values in the game, ranging from 6 to 14 required points. Yikes. Thankfully, the red tier tends to be the shortest island phase in the game, though that's only because it leads straight into a vicious, no-holds-barred fight to the death against the pirates. We'll have to pull out all the stops to see the day through. Let's prepare for battle and charge boldly into the red tier of the island. Alrighty, well let's go ahead and dive into the red tier. 12 cards is the name of the game. If we could survive these 12 cards, we have our shot at the pirates. So the first choice is between a card that lets you draw 5 for an allotted value and a final challenge value of 14. Yikes. And we have 2 draws with a value of 6. At this stage in the game, I think the more allotted card draws we are granted, the more chances we have to trigger our power cards. So let's go ahead and start with this one and draw the next 5. Let's see. Copy ability. Okay. Not so good. We have a scared card. Oh, okay. We actually have a destroy with 2 points. Let's actually use that ability. Go ahead and destroy this scared card. Very good. I have 2 more allotted draws. Let's go ahead and draw those. A phase -1 card. Excellent. And a below the pile. So we're at 3 points, working our way towards 5. We're going to have to spend, working our way towards 14. But if we used the phase -1, we could be working towards 9. And actually, if we use the copy for the phase -1, we could be working toward that 5, which we're already 3 points on our way to.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
So let's spend 1 health and draw the next card. Okay, another aging card. Not too surprising there. Let's add an aging card to our deck. Shuffle, shuffle. And let's spend another health to see what we can pull next. We have 1 point. Okay, so we're currently at 2 points since this is making this 2-point card a 0. So we'll have to keep pushing if we want this card. Here we go. We have our +2 cards. Let's exhaust that and draw 2 cards for free. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But again, one of those 2s is 0, so we're at 4. 1 more card draw if we just get 1 point. Okay, 1 health. I'm not going to bother even getting it because I'm just going to use it to spend. Excellent, to draw another card. And it looks like we have exactly what we need here. So before I go and consider this challenge completed, we do still have this below the pile, meaning one of these 0 value cards we could tuck under the bottom of the deck. In fact, actually, I guess I could have completed this challenge earlier if I used that below the pile on this scared card right here. But I think it's okay. Let's go ahead and put this copy on bottom. There we go. So we have that for the bottom of the deck. Very good. So we'll set all that stuff over here. I wish I knew of a faster way to get stuff into that discard. There probably is a way to do it, and I'm simply too dumb to know. All right. The next choice, we have 4 allotted card draws in a value of 11 and 2 allotted card draws in a value of 6. This is going to give you 1 measly point, but +1 life. Not too bad. 3 points and an exchange. I think we're going to have to go for that because we do have some nasty pirates coming up that will require quite a bit from our deck. All right, let's start with +1 life. Very good. Second card, +2 life. We'll go ahead and certainly utilize that ability. Excellent. Here we go. We have 2 and a double. We don't have anything yet we can double because 0 times 2 is still 0. And you can't double the card it's on. And our 4th card is our second +2 cards card, which is right on time. So let's go ahead and draw. Ooh, okay. Interesting. So I can't use that just yet if I want to use the other free card from this. So let's go ahead and draw the next one. Excellent. Double exchange. Let's start with the sorting 3 card and see if we can't set ourselves up for success here. We have a double exchange here. We have a weapon, just 2 points, but not too bad. And then we have one that is focused. We are currently sitting at a value of 2, 5. It looks like 5 points toward 11, so we still have a ways to go. The 2 points and the 1 point will certainly help. And so I think we'll put this exchange on the bottom like so. And then what we'll do is use this exchange to exchange out this card right there for that 2. Then we get to exchange one more card. I think we'll exchange this +2 life card for the 1. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. We're still 3 points shy. We know the next card is another set of exchanges. So let's go ahead, spend 1 health, bring that card out, use that card's ability to exchange the previously used exchange card, which gets us 2 points and the ability to sort the next 3 cards. I say we go ahead and exchange this card before we do that. Okay, 1 point and +1 life. So let's make sure we get our life back for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 points, which is what we need. But before we go, let us use the sort 3 cards to set ourselves up for the next hand. What do we have here? -2, stupid card, and a +2 with life, and a 4 that is a weapon. I think we'll put the 4 on top because that will be certainly a powerful boon depending on no matter how many cards the next 2 challenges would let us pull. We have a pretty good chance of getting those to happen. Very good. So we'll set that over there. 2 cards out of here. Knowing, of course, that we have the 4 on top, and then I believe followed by a 2, I think we actually have a pretty decent shot at this one, which this one's 2 points in an exchange. This is 3 points and a destroy, which can help us get rid of those aging cards. Let's go ahead and push for this if we can. So, of course, we have our weapon of 4 right there. We have 2, and it's going to grant us +1 life, so let's get one of those back. We have the -2 to offset that, unfortunately. And then we have below the pile. I don't think anything is going to be incredibly useful. If we do put below the pile, we could put that right there and basically use it again just to get another life, since we're going to be pushing anyway, but you'd have to spend life to get it out. So I think we're going to save this for maybe potentially something after the reshuffle occurs. So let's spend 1 health to push through the deck and see what we got. We have a copy. Okay, interesting. Not terrible. Let's get 1 aging card in here. Shuffle these, spend 1 health point, and draw. Alright, so we are currently at 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're back at 6, of course. We're still working towards 11. I could use this to get that copy, or I mean the stupid card on the bottom, which will put us at 8 points, but I think we're going to have to push anyway, so let's keep pushing. We could decide to do that a little later if we think it's worth it. Excellent, a double card. If we exhaust that double, that 4 becomes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, -2. Oh, sorry. This is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, -2 is 12. So we actually have exactly what we need. Before we go, I suppose we can use this copy to get +1 life. Here we go. And then I suppose let's use this below the pile to put this copy down there for future use. Excellent. All right, we'll put those over there. That worked out pretty well. I'm feeling pretty good about our health pool so far. Still 6 more cards to go, but let's see what we've got. Looks like a tie here. We have 2 allotted draws and a value of 6 in both cases. We have 1 point granted by each. We have a copy and a destroy. Destroy is pretty good, but copy is so versatile because you can use it for any of the other powers that are in play. So I think, especially with the pirates coming up, and you know there's going to be a lot of powers on the board, that can be incredibly useful to us. And generally, by that point, you'll have a destroy you can copy if you really wanted to. So we have 2 allotted card draws. We have 1 point there. We have 1 point there and below the pile. So we are 2 points on our way to the 6. We're going to have to push if we want to get a little further on. We have 1 more point. So we are halfway there at 3 points. Excuse me. Okay, we are at 5 points. We have 1 destroy, but we don't have anything really we want to destroy here necessarily. So let's go ahead and draw the next thing. We have 2, it's a 0 value with some exchange ability. I don't know that we really want to do any exchanging since these are all cards with points right now. Let's push 1 more. Okay, +2 cards. Excellent. Let's go ahead and use that. Here's the first card, which is going to be a 0 and +1 life. We don't want to use that yet because we want to draw the next card, hoping for points. No points in this case, but we get 2 life. Not so bad. And then, since we've already used that, now we have stuff to exchange. So let's exchange that. Okay, that's rather overkill. As you can see, we have 4 points. Not so fun. But what is fun is that this below the pile is here. So let us go ahead and use that below the pile to put our +2 cards down there on the bottom, which will combo rather well with our copy, if you remember. Now, we could destroy a card while we're here. This is a 0-point card. It does grant life, though, and life is pretty good. I don't think we're going to destroy anything right now. Let's go ahead and save what we have. We'll put all of these items over here, and we will continue on. Here we are, a choice between 2 allotted draws in value of 6. That is a 2-point card with no ability, or 3-point card with a +1 card ability. I think the choice here is rather obvious. We're going to go for the one that not only grants more draws, but will give us more stuff. Alright, so we have an aging card here of Hungry, which has -1 life, which means at the end of this hazard challenge, whether we win or whether we lose, we are going to suffer -1 life if this is still in play. So hopefully we can get that out of here. We have +2 card draws. Very good. Certainly will be helpful. We have 2 points in the sort 3 cards, and we still have 1 allotted card draw. Highest value is 0. That's no fun. Let's start with... Actually, let's start by looking at the next 3... No. Alright, we'll start with these because those are free draws anyway. So let's go ahead and grab one. Double exchange. Might not be a bad idea to exchange those if we have no other way of dealing with them. We have 1 point and +1 life. We'll certainly redeem that. And let's go ahead and look at the next 3 cards and see what our options are. We have 1 point. We have 0 points, but a phase -1 certainly could help us. And we have our tried and true eating card giving us +2 life. I think maybe we'll start with this, then we'll do this, then we'll do that. How about that? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and exchange. Let's exchange this scared card out of here so we don't have it to worry about bringing in our eating card. And then we could exchange one more card. I suppose we could exchange this one. Alright, and we have our phase -1. So we are currently working now towards a value of 7 as opposed to the red 11. We currently have 1, 2, 3 points. Not very far along the way toward getting that goal, but we did just get 2 life back, which means that we now have the freedom to push into this deck a bit. We already knew that 1 was coming. That makes sense. Let's continue to push and see what else we can find. We have 3 powerful points and an exchange. This exchange has already been expended, so let's go ahead and spend that. Ooh, and 3 extra points. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we get to sort the next 3 cards. So if we can just get ourselves 2 points, like right here, then we could be in good shape. But we already know this, these 2 cards, we kind of want to keep them together, don't we? So I think we'll leave this on top, then we'll put this here and that there. How about that? Alrighty, excellent. So we will go ahead and spend 1 health to draw that weapon of 2, which is going to give us 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I guess it's overkill by a little bit, but that's alright. No problem, because... Oh, and actually, I guess we were really working towards 7, which we had 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. We had actually plenty. Okay, I really need to pay more attention to when I'm reducing those phases, shouldn't I? So, the good news is we still have plenty of health to work with, so I'm still feeling good about our chances here. Let's go ahead and put all of this stuff over there. Now, we have 2 more cards in the red tier before we end up having to face those dastardly pirates. Let's see what choice we have. We have 1 allotted card draw and a value of 3. We have 3 allotted card draws, value of 8, which would grant us 2 points and a +1 card ability, or 0 points and destroy 1. This might be the safer option simply because of the fact that if we just have to eat the damage, we have health to do so. But this card would certainly be more helpful going forward. We have 2 cards. We already know what they are. We basically have 4 additional card draws by using the +2 cards and the copy. So let's go ahead. I'm pretty confident we can get this. Let's go ahead and try for it. So we have 1, which is +2 cards, which we know. Then we have 2, which is a copy 1, which we know. And then we will get another aging card down here. Shuffle, shuffle, and let's see what our third is here in a double exchange. Fascinating. Let's start by doing +2 cards. So we'll do that here. There's 1. And here's the second one. It is 2 points, which is unfortunately made into 0 points, given that we have that scared card. Let's exhaust this for +1 health before we forget. Alright, so we've used that. Let's go ahead and copy this +2 cards to draw 2 more. Excellent. We have 3 points and a +1 card. We have 1 point and +1 life. We'll certainly exhaust that to get +1 life back. This 3 is currently a 0, again, because now it is the highest card as opposed to the 2. So we have 3 points looking for a value of 8. Now we can do some exchanging. I think we'll exchange this copy card because we have expended its usefulness. Here we go. We have 3 points, and we can now sort the next 3 cards. Excellent. I wonder if we can find a destroy in the next 3 cards. That would certainly be helpful. No dice. Okay. I was hopeful that we could, but unfortunately, such was not meant to be. Even so, it looks like currently we have 3, 4, 5, 6 points out of 8. So if we just get this 2 on top, then we will have exactly what we need because, of course, one of our 3s is currently being counted as a 0. Alright, so we'll go ahead and exhaust this for 1 card. Here we go. 2 points, which is exactly what we supposed it would be. So we've successfully completed this challenge. But before we go, although we know the next 2 cards, it would be a waste not to see what the 3rd card is going to be. Below the pile. Okay, interesting. I think we'll just keep the things in the orders that they are because I have very little reason not to do so. Alright, we'll put all this stuff over there. We have thankfully cleared out the red threat deck, rather the red tier of the hazard deck, meaning naturally that we win, of course, but in actuality, that's not quite what that means. That means it's time to head to the beachfront to face down some pirates, which, as you can see, are essentially like a super hazard. You have an allotted card draws that tends to be pretty high, and a pretty high score value to overcome. Alright, same rules apply. With our health, we'll be able to push as many times as our health pool permits and as our powers permit, and hopefully by the end of our efforts we will be able to overcome or match that challenge value.
We're in the end game now.
Okay, let's go ahead and see what we've got. Well, we have a 1, and if I'm psychic, I believe we also have below the pile. Fascinating. How does he do it? Alright, so those are the first 3 cards we know. We have a copy ability. Okay. We have 2 and a double. The double will help once we run into those cards with value 4, certainly. Alright, so we'll continue to draw our other 5 allotted cards. We have 0 with +1 life. Let's go ahead and use that. Then we have 0 with +1 life. Let's go ahead and use that also. Scoot that right there. Okay, now we have 2 points and a destroy. Excellent. So when those aging cards come out, we are ready. 2 more allotted card draws. We have 2 points and a genius. Oh, and there's one of our aging cards, -1 life. I'm not going to destroy that one just yet because of the fact that it doesn't impact our actual score. I assume we're going to see other ones potentially that impact our actual score value, and those would be bigger threats, in my opinion, at least as far as pursuing the pirate goals. So let's go ahead and leave that there for right now. Alright, so we have our 10 allotted draws, so everything else we're going to have to do is going to be through the use of our powers and through the use of spending health. In this case, none of our powers really seem to allow us any additional draws yet, so let's go ahead and spend 1 health and begin to push. That might be a candidate for that destroy, but we'll go ahead and see if anything worse comes out of this deck. Alright, a weapon card to offset that stupid card, no worries. Ooh, an even more powerful weapon card, which, thankfully, this is that 4. If we use the double on that, that card alone will be 8 points, which would be about a fifth of what we need. Well, exactly a fifth of what we need here. Certainly very helpful. Okay. We have phase -1. Unfortunately, this card is not going to do us any good because the pirates do not have any phases associated with them. So that's sort of a blank card, so to speak. Not technically. I guess we could use things on it, like it could be a good card to exchange if you don't want to exchange something with points or powers. Alright, 1 point. Excuse me. Draw another. Alright, our eating card. Let's get 2 life. I'm only going to return 1 because I intend to continue drawing. We have 1 point below the pile. This pile is rather low. One thing that I'm considering doing as far as putting something below the pile that doesn't impact our points is actually maybe putting this eating card under there. That way, after we get to the bottom of these 6, we'll be able to get yet another use out of this eating. So I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. There we go. All right, spend 1 health point. Here we go. Excellent. We have the first of our +2 card draws right here. So let's go ahead and exhaust that for 2 free card draws. We have 3 points and a destroy. So if we wanted, we could get rid of both of those aging since we have 2 destroy abilities here. And let's draw the second of our allotted card draws, which is 3 points and an exchange of 1. I'll put that up there. Okay. Excellent. So we actually have things that we are happy to exchange. For instance, this books here with the phase issue not really helping. Okay, so this is another aging card called Stop. We are actually at a point where this is not too painful to us. If we were at the beginning of a hazard or the pirates using our allotted card draws, that Stop card would essentially, even if that was the first card we drew, we would not be able to access our allotted card draws after that. But of course, at this point, we are far beyond that particular avenue. So I think we are okay. Let's continue. So we've exchanged, we've done that, we've done our 2 cards. We have a copy. I think what I might do is copy this +2 cards ability and draw 2 more cards for free. Here is a double exchange, not bad. Let's get another one. Ah, indeed, it looks like a weapon, another weapon, which if we do aging on it again, I mean not aging, I'm sorry. If we are able to do a double or copy another double, then we'll be able to make both of those 4s into 8s, which will of course bring us quite a bit closer to completing our task. Let's go ahead and use this exchange. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's exchange this card right here. And we already knew what this card was. Let's exchange this card right there. We're going to have to put a new aging card in here. We're not too afraid of them, given that we have destruction out on the board. Okay, well, we just saw this card, didn't we? So let's go ahead and exhaust both of these to get 3 health. 1, 2, and 3. And let's make sure, I'm going to try my best not to cover points. Here we go. Okay. All right, so continuing on, below the pile, we could certainly utilize this below the pile to, for instance, bury that eating card once more. May not be a horrible idea. Why not? Let's go ahead. Oops, excuse me. All right, come on. Why are you stuck together? Goodness. Sometimes this program can surprise me with the things that it does. All right, excellent. So we went ahead and put that under the under that deck. It's going to be a while till we see it, but we know, at least we have the comfort of knowing that it is there. Okay, I think everything else that we're going to have to do right now is going to be the result of us pushing. Thankfully, we just healed a little bit, so we have some freedom to do that. Another one of these unfortunate aging cards. Let's go ahead and actually use these destroys real quick. Let's destroy this card because that will affect score. And let's destroy this card. Actually, let's wait because I know that there are some really, really, really terrible things in there that are worse than -2. -2 is not that bad compared to the stuff that I know is in there. So let's actually wait and see if we pull anything even worse before we do so. Oh, and let me re-exhaust that before I forget. Okay, so let's go ahead and spend 1 of these to draw 0 and a +1 life. Excellent. We will do that. I would pull it, but again, I'm just going to be drawing again. All right, so we have 3 and +1 card. Let's go ahead. Actually, let's do some math real quick. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Sorry, hold on. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's say that this one is the 8, so that would be 27, 28, 29. 29 plus 4 is 33, plus 1 is 34, -2 is 32. Okay, so we're still a few points shy, but that's not too bad. And if we destroyed that, we would be at 34 naturally. But we still, I feel confident that we can make up these few points here. Here we go. We have 2 points plus 1 life. I would just pull it, but again, I'm just about to spend it. Excellent. We have 2 points here, and let's sort the next 3 cards, and we should be able to set ourselves up for success. Okay, that's not going to help us, naturally. This can certainly help us, but not if the card it draws is that. Oh, no. But actually, yes, this is fine, because of the fact we already know. Like I was saying earlier, I'm glad I didn't use that other destroy, because look at that, -4. That is terrible. No good, very bad, utterly awful. But it's okay, because we were prepared. So let's spend 1 health to draw this card, which will allow us to draw another card, which will be this moronic card, which, thankfully, we can use that destroy to get out of our deck. Now, let's go ahead and do some math, because I know we just added a few points, and unfortunately, I am too stupid to be able to track what numbers they added for us. So let me click on these. Excellent. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. We're going to say that is the 8. 25 plus 8 is 33. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. -2 is 38. So we're 2 points shy. We still do have some health to allow us to continue to draw. And let's exhaust that double just so that I know that I'm doubling one of those 4s going forward, and I'm sure to account for that in scoring. Excellent. Phase -1, we already knew that was coming because we did see it with our sort, and we know it will not be very helpful to us at all. We have 1 point, so we are 1 point shy. We're going to get 1 health, but I'm just going to spend it to get, indeed, 3 points, which is going to put us over the value we need. And before we complete this pirate challenge, let us look at the next 3 cards to see what we have. We have copy. We have +2 cards and 2 exchanges. We are in good shape for the next set of pirate madness. All right, so here we go. So we have met our 42 points, which supersedes this value 40. We have beaten these pirates. Get away. The problem is, though, you get to fight not 1, but a second set of pirates. This one allows 10 free allotted card draws and a score value 52, but as you can read at the bottom here, it actually has a special modifier. Each face-up fighting card counts +1 fighting point. And from what I checked in the rules, it seems that fighting cards are the cards that come out of your deck that are not like aging cards. As far as I know, aging cards don't count towards that. Oh no, whoops, sorry. I should not have done that. Sort 3 cards. Yes, copy is where we should stop because we have copy, then +2 cards, then exchange. I meant to be putting these over here. Goodness. Yeah, I wish there was a nice, convenient button that you can just click, and all of these cards will filter themselves into the discard pile. I wonder if I can highlight all of them and drop them. Okay, I might actually be making a horrible mess and mistake by doing so. So let us do this the long and arduous way, but the way in which we know everything will be accounted for. Excellent. Bing, 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 bing. Excellent. It's too bad that this pirate card doesn't grant you some superpower that you can use against this other pirates like the other challenges do. It looks like we have 4 health points to work with, meaning that we are currently looking at 14 cards of the 10 allotted plus the 4 that we can spend for health, but that's before any healing or +2 cards or copying or any of that fun stuff occurs. So I'm feeling pretty good in our chances here. Let's go ahead and start drawing these cards and see what we can do. We have our copy. Then we should have our +2 cards, which we knew. Excuse me. There we go. And then we should have our double exchange. And then we should have yes, our eating ability. Let's go ahead and use that to get us 6 health, which is a much nicer bit of health than 4. We are going to add yet another aging card in here. I know we have a few, but we also have some destroys naturally, so we will look forward to utilizing those. There's that weapon card. Looking for doubles now. Definitely happy to have some doubles. I'm going to try and keep the 10 allotted draws as best I can on this side and hope that they don't magnetize here. Before we go on, let's go ahead and draw 1 health. Here we go. Excellent. We have our double, which we will certainly use on that 4. And excellent. +2 cards. Let us go ahead and draw 2 cards right now. There's 1. There is a second. Okay. We have 21 cards left in the deck, so certainly if we run into anything terrible regarding aging, we could just tuck it away under the deck if we should so choose. Let us draw 2 more cards here. We have 3 with a destroy. We're not going to use it on something as weak as that if something else could possibly come up. I might actually end up destroying this if I just have copious amount of resources, because I'm tired of drawing it since it's useless to us. Alright, we have a copy ability. I know I saw it. Here we go. Let us copy +2 cards to draw 2 more cards. Actually, let me try and get these a little, there we go, a little closer. Excellent. We have 1, but we're not going to use that yet because we want to get the second draw, of course. Excellent. Let us get +1 life, giving us a little more to our pool for pushing. No worries. We have 2 exchanges. Let's go ahead and use that. We have this 2 exchange. No worries. That's no fun. And let's go ahead and get rid of that card right there because that will be useless to us. Okay, well actually I guess it's not useless to us, is it? Because of the fact that aging cards don't count as fighting cards, to my knowledge, I could be wrong. Let's actually use that because if nothing else, that will count for the +1 fighting point toward our challenge there. So let's go ahead and actually, that makes a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it. So I may end up exchanging these sorts of things. I'll decide if I want to continue exchanging those sorts of things, potentially. What I might do is exchange this copy, because we've already utilized it. Here we go. That is 3 points in an exchange, which isn't so bad. Okay, and then we could exchange 1 more card. Could exchange the other exchange, I suppose. We already have a +2 card. If any other copy stuff comes into play, I suppose we could just do that. But then again, I might want to tuck that below the pile. Indeed. Oh, that one has points on it. We don't want to get rid of that. Now I think it's a good idea to get rid of that phase card, for example. Excellent. 3 points and sort 3 cards. Let us sort the next 3. We have 1 card, which will prompt another card when used. Oh boy, there it is. Suicidal. Good thing we didn't use that destroy. And we also have yet another one. I think what we'll do is this, and this. These can chain and draw each other. How about that? So we'll set that there, and that there. Excellent. I think we could exchange to get that other thing in here. Yeah, let's go ahead. Since we know we don't want to destroy this, we're going to use our destroy on worse cards, so to speak. So let's go ahead and set that right there. Boom, boom. Whoops, there we go. And let's go ahead and use that ability to draw another card. Here we go. We knew it's a 2, and it'll let us draw another card. Oh no, suicidal -5. That's awful. Yeah, it really is. Let's get it out of here. Excellent. All right, so let's do some math here. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And actually, this 4 should have 4 more because of the double. Okay, and we have 1 point for each of the. Actually, let's do all the math, get ourselves exactly set up. Let's see. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 plus 9, because that's 8, but then +1 for being a fighting card, is 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. Wow, so we are coming up rather close to our score value. We'll have to push just a little bit more to actually get there. Let's exhaust that just in case. We have 1 and a destroy. This is going to add not 2 points, but 3, because again, we get +1 point for each fighting card in play. Then let's draw yet another card. And let us draw yet another card. Excellent. 4. All right, let us do one final bout of math just to make sure. I'm pretty sure that we have exactly what we need. Actually, we have more than what we need, I'm pretty sure. But let's just check. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, I'm counting +1 because of that modifier up here. So you're at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 plus 9, again, because it's doubled and then the +1. So we're at 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 40 plus 5 is 45, plus 3 is 48, plus 2 is 50, plus 4 plus 50 plus 8 is 58. So clearly, in this case, 58 is much higher than 52. If I wanted, I could continue to push, but at this point, why bother? Let's go ahead and get those pirates out of here because, ladies and gentlemen, we have concluded our run-through of Friday. At the end of each Simpleton playthrough, I plan to share some closing thoughts about the game in review. These will consist of positive points, negative points, and some alternative feedback. To start, here are my closing thoughts for Friday. I really like this game. It's easy to set up, quick to play when I'm not breaking down my every turn, and conveniently packaged for travel. I love how the threat cards rotate to become your power cards. Very efficient design. I personally find it hard to be immersed in the thematic narrative of the game, though. It seems odd to me that Friday will sometimes employ his highest wits and weapons when dealing with a damaged raft, yet somehow get distracted when facing down a threatening horde of wild animals. And curing his conditions like stupidity by suffering damage doesn't really make much sense.
Fool of a took. Throw yourself in next time and rid us of your stupidity.
Or maybe it does. There's a certain degree of luck in the game, and occasionally the threat deck can wreck your day, but overall I feel the game offers me a decent deck builder's measure of control, so I don't feel ultimately helpless to the tides of fortune. No matter how many times I play this game, I come back for another go of it every few weeks. After I play a game a few times, I sometimes ask myself what I'd like to see in a theoretical expansion or second edition of the game. I think this game is excellent the way it is, but if I were asked for some ideas, here's what I would suggest. I would suggest to see new ability cards. A few theoretical examples off the top of my head might include things like 1. Shuffle a hazard card from the hazard discard pile back into the hazard deck. I'd certainly use that if I failed the challenge with the +2 cards ability, for example. 2. Shuffle a card from your Robinson discard pile back into your Robinson deck. This might be a bit too powerful on its own, though. It will likely need some sort of limiter, like, if you lose against this hazard, then you may, ... 3. Draw 3 cards, choose 1 to put in play, and discard the other 2. 4. Discard a certain number of cards from your modifier deck to regain a certain number of life. 5. Hybrid or split style cards that offer a choice to the player. One example of this might be a card that offers exchange 1 or destroy 1. And 6. Maybe even a new card type or two that can stay in play for a time until you engage its effect. Perhaps something like a preparation or reserve ability. If that seems too powerful, maybe consider a holdover ability that lets you keep a card in play to apply its value to the next hazard. I also think it might be interesting if there were either other playable characters or a set of Friday character profiles to choose from that would grant you certain limited abilities. As I envision it, you could place failed hazard cards underneath your profile card. Then, once a certain threshold is reached, you may return those hazard cards to the hazard discard pile to redeem some sort of positive effect. If not profile powers, I think that a slight respite between the threat tiers could be a nice touch. Something like a campfire phase to give you a small kickback if you survived the phase but failed a few challenges. Next, 2-player mode. I'd have to dedicate some time and effort to even figure out how a 2-player experience would work, but I'd definitely be interested in seeing one. Lastly, I'd personally enjoy a fantasy or sci-fi dungeon crawl retheme of this game with the previously suggested additions, overcoming traps and minions on the way to a big bad dungeon boss. What can I say? I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. I'm also a sucker for games with a story, which this game unfortunately lacks in a sort of narrative sense. However, given that this game lacked it, I stopped and asked myself, what would a story for such a game, a retheme in this case, end up looking like? What would I want to see out of something like that? So I ended up creating a bit of a pitch of my own that I wanted to share with everyone. If you're interested in hearing it, continue to listen on. Otherwise, thanks for watching this episode, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. The name of this theoretical project is called The Willow, and the reason for that should become evident rather shortly. So here's the introductory story that sets the theme for the game. "Lyra," Emma called from the humble farm kitchen. "Lyra, would you come help Mom with the vegetables?" Emma lit the stove and started filling the time-worn stew pot with water, humming softly to herself while she waited for Lyra. Usually, when Emma arrived home, she would hear the sound of 6 swift feet thumping down the hall shortly thereafter, 4 from their farm dog Griff and 2 from little Lyra. Wherever Lyra went, Griff went also, with particular celerity when heading toward their maternal food-bearer. "Lyra, are you home?" Emma called again, pausing to poke her head into the hall. Emma tilted her head slightly as she walked towards Lyra's room. "Lyra, what's wrong?" Emma asked as she turned into the corner of Lyra's room. Griff lay dead on Lyra's bed in a pool of blood. Emma froze with a quivered gasp. Huddled over the farm dog's form was Cedric, Emma's husband. Sitting on a wooden stool with his cane leaned on the bedpost, Cedric's broad back shuddered with quiet sputters as he ran his calloused hand gently through Griff's blood-soaked fur. Cedric, Emma choked. What happened? Griff, Cedric whispered weakly with another sniffle. He tried to... Cedric's words broke off into a muffled mourning moan. Emma hurried to her husband's side and took in the visceral sight with anguish. Griff had been impaled with 3 jagged, branch-like stakes, 1 in the neck and 2 in the torso. What did he try to do? Where's Lyra? Cedric sobbed harder. Emma knelt with tears overtaking her eyes and looked at her husband. He turned away. Cedric, where is Lyra? They took her! Cedric wheezed with grief. Those Splinter's seed took her away. Emma's body went ice cold. The seed? That's impossible. The seed keep to the willow. It was them, Cedric bellowed in guttural agony. Splinters and spores, it was them. Emma's entire body shivered with shock. Sweet little Lyra, taken by the seed? She glanced through tear-blurred eyes back at Griff, and noticed pustuled pockets of fungus on the branches protruding from the farm dog's fatal wounds. Nausea and terror gripped Emma in a smothering vice, and she collapsed to the floor in despair. This can't be happening. This can't be happening, Emma exclaimed in desperate denial. The seed have never come this far out from the willow. Why would they? Cedric trembled under the strain of a father's grief. He buried his face in his hands and wept bitterly. Emma reached for her husband and wrapped him in a commiserate embrace. As her arms encircled her husband, they drifted across her husband's weathered beard, thick, gray, and sticky. Emma pulled her arms back in alarm with a gasp. A honeyed residue glistened on her forearms. No, Emma choked, her arms shivering. Cedric, tell me this isn't what I think it is. Cedric only wept in reply. Cedric, look at me. Cedric turned away, his countenance overtaken by a compounding wave of guilt and shame. Realization dawned on Emma in a horrifying instant. Emma's frenetic gaze darted through Lyra's window and fell upon the gargantuan form of the mountainous willow hulking over the distant forest. You drank sap from the willow. I'm sorry, Cedric wheezed in a raspy voice. But you promised you'd sworn it off for good, Emma interjected incredulously. If only it were so easy, Cedric blubbered. Emma listened in shocked silence. The pain is so bad, Emma, worse than I ever imagined it would get. Forcing my frail form around it all is torture in itself, much less working this splintered farm. But the work has to be done somehow or we'll go hungry. Without the sap... Cedric trailed off. There's just no earthly remedy that compares. In that moment, time seemed to stop. So you bartered our daughter for some sap? Emma asked, revulsive maternal venom overtaking her tone. Heavens, Emma, no, Cedric replied. I drank some from the tree, and I suppose they caught me doing so. Then, why did the seed take Lyra? I don't know. Cedric crumbled to tears again. I tried to protect her. Poor Griff did, too. I tried to have them take me instead. I tried to show them I was the one they wanted, but they forced their way past me and went straight for Lyra. Crestfallen, devastated, Emma's spirits sank. We tried for so long to have a child. Now to lose her like this? Cedric sobbed silently. A few moments that seemed an eternity passed. No, Emma growled, her feeling of helplessness fueling a building fury within her. She glared at the willow. How long ago was she taken? An hour or so, Cedric replied weakly. Then there's still time. Emma turned and ran down the hall towards the back door. Emma! Emma, wait! Cedric called, fumbling for his cane to follow after her. Cedric shambled his way down the hall and out the back door. From the open doorway he saw Emma in the barn affixing a pack of farming implements to the harness on her horse. Emma, no! Cedric called out to her, hurrying as best he could. No, Emma, please, I can't lose you too. Our daughter is in peril, and it is my duty as a mother to protect her, Emma replied curtly. It's suicide, Emma, Cedric pleaded. No one returns from the willow. I will not abandon our daughter to this fate. I'm going. Emma hopped on the horse. If you are coming, get on your horse. Emma, please, don't do this. If you will not help me, then perhaps the seed shaman will, Emma replied coldly. She flicked the horse's reins, and the horse took off down the dusty road toward the willow. Shaman, Emma called, I am in dire need of your assistance. Please speak with me. Emma quickly bound her horse to a tree outside the seed shaman's home. Though calling it a home was somewhat generous, it was a decrepit, ramshackle husk of a house that nature had long since overtaken. Moss and mildew seemed the primary features of the shelter, with a strangely pleasant scent overpowering the musty aura of the abode. "It is a matter most urgent," pleaded Emma, banging on the spongy, wood-rotten door. "Please, shaman, have mercy and speak with me." The latch on the door opened slowly with a rusted series of scrapes and clicks. To Emma's relief, the door opened, though the unsettling sight of the shaman made her partly wish it hadn't. The seed shaman stood in the doorway, looking at Emma with hazy, amber eyes backlit with a dull light. The shaman never blinked, lending an uneasy air to his ceaseless gaze. Though he bore the vague stature of a man, he resembled an aged, knotted oak far more. His arms, legs, and torso were comprised of a jagged, intertwining, branch-like sinews that creaked and groaned like a pine in a strong wind with every move. All throughout his form, clumps of yellowed mushroom clusters seemingly sprouted out at random like swollen pus pockets, giving him a desiccated, rotting appearance. Emma had to suppress a shudder when a yellow-legged centipede scurried across the shaman's forehead and into his left nostril. The shaman was seemingly unfazed. His lips, or rather his craggy, bark-like jaws, moved. "I do not have many visitors of your kind. What do you seek, blood-born one?" "I seek your aid. My daughter has been taken by the seed." The treeman's leafy head tilted to one side, wood chips flaking from his neck and falling to the earthen floor. "A sap-stealer, was she?" "No, my husband was," Emma corrected. "But they passed him by and took my daughter." The seed shaman grumbled in a deep, slow voice. "A debt of seed, then." "A what?" "Sap stolen from the willow must be repaid with nutrients for the willow. In cases where the sap-stealer would provide insufficient nutrients to replenish the stolen sap, a seed of the sap-stealer is taken to absolve the debt instead." "Meaning what, exactly? A debt of garden servitude?" Emma pressed urgently. The shaman's gaze turned slowly toward the willow. "The child will be brought to Willow Root." "Willow Root? Beneath the tree, you mean?" The treeman gave a small creaking nod and continued. "Into the cavernous chambers beneath the willow, down to the root, to perform the rite of replenishment." Emma turned white. You mean they're going to feed her to the willow?" "In a sense, yes." "I won't allow it. They can take me instead if they so wish, but they will not have Lyra." Emma spat defiantly. "I have heard rumor that you are a source of assistance for those in need with nowhere else to turn. Therefore, Sir Shaman, I shall incur any debt you see fit if you will assist me in retrieving my daughter." The seed shaman's eyes returned to Emma. "Such would be a fruitless endeavor, blood-born one. You would not survive long enough to repay any incurred debt." "Then I plead your charity through groveling, Sir Shaman." Emma knelt and pressed her forehead to the ground in a bow. "Please." After a few moments of silence, the shaman spoke. "I am not charitable." Emma, frustrated, enraged, and scared, was about to turn and leave when the shaman spoke again. "However, I am curious. None of your kind have been so bold as to resist the seed, much less sought to go beneath the willow and stop a rite of replenishment. You have either great courage or naivety. I will help you." Relief washed over Emma. Thank you, Sir Shaman. We must hurry if we—" "You misunderstand, blood-born one. I will not go with you." The shaman slowly turned toward the inner chamber of his shelter. "I was planted to live in the willow with my kind, and the earth spat me out. I cannot return to that place. Come." Disheartened yet determined, Emma followed after the seed shaman. Grass and earth carpeted the innards of his home. Vines twined and dangled from walls and ceilings. Flowers and shrubs grew here and there, creating the sense that the seed shaman lived amidst a fascinating indoor ecosystem of his own. The shaman led Emma to a massive stump of an oak, outfitted with the makings of an apothecary's table. "Remove your outer garments and footwear, then lay stomach side down on the table." Emma complied uncertainly, yet questioned. "What do you intend to do?" "The air under the willow is toxic to the bloodborne," the seed shaman explained as he made his way to a mossy cupboard. "A dense fog of spores shrouds willow root, an effective defense against breathing foes who would try to enter. You will not survive more than a few minutes without the ability to withstand the potency of this toxin." Emma recoiled. "Then, is Lyra already—" "No," the treeman replied, still gathering supplies unseen. "The nutrients would be spoiled if decomposition began too early. The child is put to sleep and then given a willow moss mask that filters spores." "I see, and I suppose you have such a mask?" "No," the shaman sighed. "Willow moss coats the roots of the willow and can only survive if kept in the dark, musty conditions of willow root. As I said before, this is not a journey you will ultimately survive. I can only offer you time beyond your natural limit." "Fine. I will graciously accept whatever you can provide." What I give you is an infernal blasphemy to my people. I will warn you, by accepting this aid and entering their home, you should expect the harshest treatment from them. And they should mine, Emma growled harshly. Tenacious, the treeman mused. The aid I give you will be to perform a graft upon you, surgically infusing you with parts of the willow to grant you the ability to spread roots and draw energy through them as the willow and the seed do. Drawing energy through these roots will allow you to sustain your life for a time, though it is not a healing agent for the bloodborne like it is for the seed. Your wounds and wear will catch up to you eventually. The treeman stood beside Emma, carrying unknown implements and what appeared to be wooden stakes. Are you certain you wish to proceed? Once done, a graft cannot be undone, and the grafting process will be extensively unpleasant. I'm certain, Emma stated with iron resolve. Please hurry. Very well. The shaman finished his preparations by placing what felt like a rounded wooden plank across the soles of Emma's feet. Brace yourself, Bloodborne One. Emma readied herself for the worst she could imagine, and even then she sorely underestimated the suffering she had to endure. After an agonizing period of cutting, prodding, stabbing, and twisting that felt like hours, the treeman mercifully finished. You will feel terrible at first, he said, as your body will crave nutrients, but this feeling will pass once you spread roots and feed from the willow. Emma felt as though someone had driven thick nails throughout her back and limbs, all screaming in pain with the slightest movement. But she had to hurry. She couldn't indulge her body's pleading for the relief of stillness. How? Emma sputtered with an exhausted cough. How do I do that? You already are, the shaman replied. Puzzled, Emma noted a bizarre tingling sensation coming from her feet. Glistening with sweat and blood, she shakily pushed herself up from the stump and slowly turned toward her tingling toes. There she saw a plank of earth and wood under her feet, encircled in long, thin, veiny maggots that faintly pulsated in tandem with Emma's heartbeat. With horror, Emma quickly realized those strands weren't maggots, but were blood-stained roots spawned from the bottom of her feet. With an effort of will, she instinctively called the roots to retract from the wood, feeling them slither back beneath her flesh like worms burrowing through dirt. Emma nearly vomited in revulsion, but composed herself as best she could. Thank you, Emma hissed gratefully, shambling slowly, but as quickly as she could, off the table toward her clothes. Leave your shoes. You will not be able to spread roots with them on. And drink this before you go. The shaman handed her a vial of honey-colored syrup. Sap from the willow dulls a great deal of mortal pains. Would have been nice to have an anesthetic before cutting and stabbing started, Emma thought to herself as she grasped the vial. Emma gulped it down in one quick pull, returning the empty vial to the shaman. The tincture tingled all the way down her throat in a most bizarre fashion. It was the perfect pitch of sweet with an intoxicating coolness. Her throat, strained and sore from her pain screaming on the table moments before, already felt wonderfully relieved. After partaking of the ambrosial ichor herself, she understood the addictive draw of such a substance, dimming her cold consideration of Cedric's selfishness. Is there anything else you can tell me about Willow Root? Emma panted as she wearily managed to mount her horse. The treeman looked toward the looming willow. It has been over a century since I lived there, though I imagine it hasn't changed much. Traveling down to the root chamber seems simple enough. One must simply descend. However, discerning one's way up through the dim-lit maze of twisting root paths is much more difficult. Your injuries and fatigue will likely begin to catch up with you by the time you reach the root chambers, rendering your ascent additionally arduous. The seed may be the grove tenders for the willow, but there are other threats that dwell in willow root as well. I do not envy your journey ahead, and I will not pretend that I believe you will complete your task. The treeman's demeanor shifted. But I do hope for the safety of your fruit. Even I find the debt of seed detestable. Thank you for your assistance, Sir Shaman. I wish you well. Emma whipped the reins of her horse and took off toward the willow. As Emma drew near the massive willow, she couldn't help but feel in awe of its grandeur. It was difficult to appreciate just how large the tree was from a distance. The willow was truly gargantuan. The willow's leafy canopy stretched for miles, soaking the forest below in an unsettling shade. It was a wonder that enough light filtered through to the trees below to be adequately sustained. Emma felt microscopic by comparison. She could hardly imagine the miles of root expanse that supported such a tree. Undaunted, Emma gathered her farming implements from the horse, a hardy axe, a wheat worker's hand sickle, and a sturdy pitchfork. She faced the cavern-like maw that led into the darkness beneath the willow, noting a faint outline of a rooted path leading down into a hazy yellow miasma of spore smog. Emma slammed the axe into a nearby root outgrowth and pressed her foot to the newly made notch. She closed her eyes and focused on the soles of her feet, willing them to extend their new roots. The slithering sensation returned as her blood roots burrowed painfully out her soul and spread into the notch. The familiar tingling sensation returned in tandem with her pulse, and relief began to pump through her. After a few minutes, feeling somehow full, Emma retracted her roots and faced the opening that led to Willow Root with confidence. Hang on, Lyra. I'm coming. And that's where this game begins, the journey of a mother taking on impossible odds to save her daughter. As far as gameplay goes, it will largely remain similar to Friday's core gameplay, but with the added bells and whistles mentioned from my ideas of a Friday expansion or second edition. But to offset the added benefits, the dangers of the Dark of Willow Root will be fiercer than Friday's wrecked rafts. In any case, this was the crux of my rethemed pitch. If you listened this long, thanks for listening, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Simpleton Solos.